So in this lesson, we're going to learn about topographic design using the photo or the digital image we used from last week of the woman running on the beach, where we recreated a different background and a fading shadow. We also used a puppet warp on her head. So in this lesson, you'll learn the following. Use guides to position text in a composition. Make a clipping mask. Merge type with other layers. Preview fonts. Format text. Distribute text along a path. And control type and positioning using advanced features. So open the Lesson 9 folder in Bridge, and you should see 4 files. You should move your runner picture into Lesson 9. Then you will have 4 files. You should have a picture of running shoes, a Word document with copy for the lesson, the runner that you just moved in, and a masthead or the logo for the top of the magazine. So let's double click on your runner and open that in Photoshop. So you should still have all your layers along the side here. Let's go back to Bridge. And double click on the Runner's World logo. So we're going to take this logo and we're going to make a mask from it. And we're going to knock out the black and put a different background in the actual words itself. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to erase some of the stuff that, some parts that aren't important in this lecture. So click on the eraser tool and erase the date on the bottom and the trademark. Once that's completed, it should look like, just say Runner's World. Okay. Now we're going to select the Magic Wand tool. Make sure it's the Magic Wand tool, not the Quick Selection tool. And we're going to simply click on the black, holding the Shift key, click on every bit of black. And then I would make it bigger, holding the Shift key down and hit the black inside the world. And don't forget inside the O, inside the R, and inside the D. So now go back out to the, now if we make a mask from this, because there it's right along the edge, you'll get a faint little bit of black on there. So what we're going to do is we're going to grow our our selection, but we're going to do it the easier way. I'm going to use select and mask, and then I'm going to shift the edge by 10%. And I'm going to output it to a selection. So when I hit OK, so once that's done, your selection just grew by about 10%. So now, because if we make a mask of this, it's going to mask out all the white. We want to mask out the black, so we need to invert or inverse the selection. Once that's done, you can just hit the mask icon on the bottom of the layers panel. And there you go. We need to cut right here. I have to fix this. So add mask and selected mask increased the selection by a little bit, and then you just simply click on the add mask icon on the bottom of the layers panel. And now you have a mask. And we're going to simply drag that mask drag the layer to the runner photo and drop it on there. Use the move tool and you can move it where you need to. Just like that. Let's go back to bridge. And we're going to double click on the shoes. We're going to simply drag the shoes to the runner photo and drop it on there. Right click and click on create clipping mask. And when you create the clipping mask, then it becomes a mask right above the runner's world and puts that there. Now I think it's kind of hard to read, so I'm going to adjust the opacity of that particular layer and just to about 50% so you still can see it. Actually, I'm going to do it at 90%. And then what I'm going to also do is I'm going to grab the layer and I'm going to move it so that you can see it. Then I'm going to click on the runner logo and I'm going to hit outer glow. And I'm going to make my spread at 25%. And I'm going to make sure the opacity is at 100, noise is at 10, and I'm going to set my color to black. Range is at 50, jitters at 0. Size is at 12. And I'm going to hit OK. I'm going to drag a ruler from the side to about 850 to the middle. Then I'm going to go to back to bridge and double click on the copy, meaning text. I'm going to grab the first little bit and I'm going to copy it. And then I'm going to go back to Photoshop. I'm going to click on the horizontal text tool, horizontal type tool, and I'm going to click here and I'm going to paste. Then I'm going to double click and select it all, and I'm going to make it a usable size. I'm going to cut right here. I'm going to go back to Photoshop. We're going to create a new layer. So go to the Layers panel, click on a new layer. So click on the background layer and click New Layer. Then drag the layer to the top. And then click on the horizontal type tool and paste the text in there. Then I would highlight it all, make it the right color. So let's just make it black for now. We can go back and change it later on. And then make it a Helvetica type. And make it 60 point. You notice that the text in this case is running into each other. So you simply go to Windows, to Character, and it'll open the character palette. And with the two A's that are underlined with a little arrow between them, right underneath, right next to the font type, click Auto. This will do auto leading. So I'm just highlighting just Get Fit Fast, and we'll make this bigger. And I'm going to hit Command, Shift, and then the greater than button, and it'll slowly make it bigger and bigger and bigger. I'm also going to click on the character. I'm going to make it bold. And if you don't like where it is, just click on the Move tool and you can move it where you need to. And I'm actually going to put it on 2 lines. And then I'm going to adjust the leading a little bit so that it feels a little closer together. Then I'm going to highlight the smaller text. And I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. I'm going to add some returns, put it on several different lines. And I'll adjust the leading of that as well. So good rule of thumb is a starting point for leading is to make the leading the same point as the font point. In this case, I made it 48, so I'm going to make it 48 leading, and you can see it looks fairly good. To make the Get Fit Fast even bigger. So I'll have to adjust it. So the font size now is 147 point. So I'm going to make it 140 leading and see how that looks. And I'll highlight the Get Fit Fast. Let's make it a dark red. And we'll just highlight the smaller texts. Make that bold. So you'll notice that the Get Fit Fast is its own layer. So let's go back to Microsoft Word and open the next one. Next, copy. And how running keeps your brain young. Let's copy that. Go back to Photoshop. And we're going to create a new layer. And we're going to click the horizontal type tool, click below it, and paste it in there. And I'm going to put it on 3 different lines. And again, I'm going to make this bigger as well. I'm going to make the font about 75 point. So that means I'm going to make the leading 75 point as well. And I'm going to move the type in line with the other. And you'll notice as you move it, guidelines pop up for when you're lining them up. So I'm going to double click on the layer, and so that how running keeps your brain young type is all selected, and pick a different font that somewhat matches it. It's not completely different. Like you don't want a scripty font like this one. You can change the color to a blue. And then again, go back to your Word document. Select the next text, key to your next personal best or PB. Copy that. Make a new layer. Click on the horizontal type tool and paste that in. You'll notice when you pasted the horizontal type tool, it's going to keep the selection or the settings from the last time you used it. So you'll want to go in and change it each time. So you can get it kind of close to what you're looking for in size, and then you can go in and make the minor adjustments like the font and the color. Select a font that you like. And that's quite readable. If your font overlaps your lady running, just simply put a key return in there. In this font, I'm going to match her pants. So I'm going to click on the font, and then I'm going to pick her pant color. When the color picker opens, take the cursor and click on her pants. You'll see the cursor becomes a little crosshair, and it'll select whatever color you've clicked on, and then simply hit OK. Then again, pick up the next piece of copy, copy it, add another layer, select the horizontal type tool, and paste the text in. Double click on the text, change the font. Position the type where you need it, and change the color. On this one, I'm gonna select a green. I want the green to be able to be read, so go back again, get more words. Create a new layer. And if it's not at the top, bring it to the top. Select the text, the type tool. double click on the layer, and select a font. Now I wouldn't go too wild on fonts. I would keep it within maybe 4 at the very most, and then just start repeating them. So I'm going to go to How Running Keeps Your Brain Young. I'm going to click on that layer, and I'm going to double click on it. Just going to copy the font, and then I'm going to double click on the new layer. I'm going to paste that font in there. And the very bottom one, I don't mind if it overlaps the runner a little bit, because it's just the very bottom of it. And I'm just going to simply anchor it to the bottom. I'm going to highlight Include Champagne and just make it a touch smaller. And then I'm going to make overall, I'm going to make the color different. I'll make it a decent yellow. To make it stand out, I used hex code 8D8E502.